Welcome back then folks to, of course, day 4 of Special Projects Pack number 19. This is a vehicle which you might know by a different name depending on the market. I believe in Japan it's called the Zero Fighter. From what I hear there are a few differences between them, but they're very close visually speaking. Some of these do look different. Again, from what I've seen, some were just kind of a blank white sort of colour, and only about 26 were made. There are even more extreme versions as well. These were actually built by Ralliart here in the UK, and it's called the Evo 6 Extreme, as of course the clue is in the name, and it's almost like a kind of FQ400 kind of idea, but before that was even a thing, and it's a fantastic rival, as it turns out, to the Litchfield Impreza, which I did. I mean, fantastic rivals, different eras, but still great rivals. In terms of spec and versions, it's got 340 horses in real life. As far as I could tell, weighs about the same, so that makes things nice and easy. Of course, you will need the Tommy Mäkinen edition Evo 6 to base this one on, and there are 2 even more extreme versions if you want to take it there of this car. There's a one-off version, which is like the ultimate version, and then there's an RS 450 version, which, don't get too excited, it doesn't actually have 450 horses, it's actually 450 torque with 380 horses instead of 340, so not a huge difference, but still that's pretty close to an FQ400. So if you want to go for that one, you could just bump the power up a little bit more, I guess, and then you've got a couple of special projects in one. But I went for this version because it's the entry level, it's the one that most people know. What few people seem to talk about that version there is. But of course, as far as the livery, tons of people, as you would guess, have done a version or a variation of this. And it depends really if you want to go for the extreme livery or the Rally Fighter. Or Rally Fighter, what am I on about? The Zero Fighter livery. So I'll leave that up to you in terms of which one you want to represent, UK market, Japanese market. In terms of the silencer here, don't actually fit that. I fitted a couple of different ones to see which one got us the right amount of power, which one looked better, and you don't need that one. The long and the short of it is, so we've got the sports brake pads. It already has the sports hard tyres, so I thought, yeah, just leave it with that. It's already good enough, really. You could change them if you want to, but it's not entirely necessary for a street build. We've got the sports clutch and flywheel. You don't really need the power restrictor or the ballast, so it's nice and simple there. That's the actual exhaust, which I'm using, the semi-racing silencer. It's got the bigger bore, so it looks right, it sounds right, and it's got just 1 horsepower over, so it's pretty spot on to what we're looking for. Sports intercooler as well, the limited slip diff, of course, height adjustable sports springs. For the racing stuff, not too much there, the racing air filter, and then the, of course, torque vectoring center diff. And we've definitely set that up differently because of the change in physics in recent months. As far as the extreme section, it's not too realistic, but again, to kind of counteract the heavier steering recently in updates, I have gone for the angle adapter, and there's nothing at all in the ultimate section. So a really, really simple build, and a really affordable one. If you've already got an Evo lying around, well, this is the 3rd Evo 6 build which we've done in projects. I did the WRC Rally version, of course the Mines Evo, which is probably the most iconic for Gran Turismo really, and this super deep cut reference. As far as point level, 537. I mean, that's not really that high for something as quick as this. And again, when we take it out to the track, you'll see how quick it is in practice. To kind of spoil that though, this is over half a second quicker around Brands Hatch than the BMW M3 CSL build, which I did. And that is a higher point level vehicle. I think that was like 550 something. So substantial difference there on time and points. And if I recall, I think this might have been a little bit quicker as well than even the Litchfield Impreza build, which I did, which is a fantastic rival for this car. So as far as the actual points, or not points, but the points to work on, I guess, the suspension sounds super high at 120, but as you can see, it really isn't. It's about right for the car. Being the sports suspension, of course, you cannot adjust the toe or the anti-roll, but it's already good enough there. We've got 25 and 45 for the dampers, 2.2 on the springs, a little bit of camber, 0.5 front and rear. The diff, as I always say, you know, my preference might not be yours, so, you know, experiment, try out different things if you want to. I've gone for 555 on the rear though, 30 on the front, and here's the way that you can tell the physics must be different because I haven't gone for my usual 50-50 split. It is a 40-60 instead, and the good thing about that is if they do backtrack a little bit on the physics, you could always just bump that back up to a 50-50 again, so it should be nice and easy on that one. There's nothing really to do here for the gearing or anything like that. Doesn't seem to use, as far as I could tell, any kind of crazy gearbox conversion. I could be wrong, but from what I could see, it doesn't. As far as downforce, we've got minimal on the front, so I've lowered the rear to kind of match that. Plus, You could raise the rear if you want the lower points, but it does tend to change the handling quite a lot if you have drastically higher downforce on either the front or the rear in comparison to the other end without any kind of yin and yang to it, if you will. And of course, we didn't fit that much, but what we did do, you can see right there. So all that remains is to jump out, of course, to the track, as I alluded to Brands Hatch, and show you what the car looks like and performs like in practice. I kind of already buried the lead here though, because it's quick. It doesn't feel as loose and as precise, I would say, as it would have a few months ago. If you compare it, for example, to the Mines Evo, which I'm sure I probably took around Suzuka or something like that, or I guess even the Rally build, but it's hard to say because I took that one on the dirt instead. It doesn't feel as nimble as it used to be, and yet it's still quicker than the CSL. It's still quicker than the Litchfield. So for a car with 340 horses, which these days doesn't really sound that crazy for an Evo, but at the time, this thing was a monster. Like I said, kind of like an FQ400 or an FQ440 before that level of extreme was even a thing. So ultra deep cut reference. You could use the same basic build and use it for multiple cars if you wanted to, build an RS450, or you could make a version that's the extreme, you could make a version that's the Zero Fighter, so you've got plenty of options there, much like the real car itself it would seem. So of course, if you are new to special projects and this is maybe your first one, there's plenty more to check out on the channel. Of course, more coming this week, and check out the ones which we've already done in pack number 19. But for now, thanks for watching.